Israel's act of aggression against Iran came as the result of absolute impunity it is granted by the US and some other European states to commit every atrocity in our region. Distinguished delegates, the common values of peace and justice are at serious stake now. Each and every UN member has the responsibility to stand up against this grave injustice and condemn Israeli aggression firmly. We are determined to document Israel's war crimes and crimes against humanity it committed during its aggression against my country. Israel and the United States must be held accountable for their violations of international law, including human rights and humanitarian law. We will not stop our demand for justice and compensation. We should bear in mind that consequences of this war of aggression would not be limited to any single country. The whole region and beyond will suffer. But more than that, the whole UN-based international law system is undermined and sidelined in favor of lawlessness and malicious unilateralism. The world, every state, every UN mechanism, and every multilateral arrangements and groupings have to be alarmed and have to act now to end impunity and to hold the criminals accountable for their unending atrocities and grave violations of international law in our region. As a recognized voice of the global South, BRICS should fulfill its role as a staunch defender of international law and multilateralism in support of the United Nations' fundamental principles of sovereign equality of all nations, non-use of force, and peaceful settlement of disputes. I should hasten to thank fellow BRICS members that appreciated the high responsibility they shoulder with respect to international peace and security by condemning and deploring the flagrant acts of aggressions launched against my country by two nuclear-armed militaries since 13 June. Dear colleagues, as I stand here, my great people are mourning for the loved ones they lost as the result of Israel's unprovoked aggression that lasted for 12 long days with the support, collaboration, and eventual participation of the United States. I urge everyone to realize the depth and gravity of the lawless behavior displayed from 13 to 24 June against Iran, as well as the overly dangerous consequences resulting from the Israelis' continuing impunity for its brutal occupation, apartheid, genocide, and warmongering in our region. In early hours of Friday, 13 June, just 2 days before the scheduled sixth round of Iran-US talks on nuclear issue, Israel waged a series of brutal military and terrorist strikes against my country. Residential areas and military bases were targeted. Off-duty commanders and soldiers, as well as a number of university teachers and scientists, were assassinated in cold blood. Ordinary people, including many kids and women, were slaughtered. Our peaceful nuclear facilities, all under the strict IAEA monitoring, were attacked. Our public infrastructure, including a number of fuel production facilities, were exploded. The US's subsequent involvement in this aggression by targeting Iran's peaceful nuclear installations has left no doubt as to the full complicity of the American government in Israel's war of aggression against Iran. Mr. President, the Israeli regime's unlawful attack against Iran was an act of aggression, not only against our residential areas and nuclear facilities, but worse than that, it was a lethal blow to diplomacy and rule of law. What the Israeli regime and subsequently the United States committed were no less than an unprecedented breach of international peace. The fact that the developing non-nuclear weapon state has been attacked by two nuclear-armed regimes with the support of at least two more nuclear-armed states that are also permanent members of the United Nations Security Council is only appalling and extremely consequential. No rule of law or logic allows anyone to target the IAEA-monitored peaceful nuclear facilities of another state simply out of speculation that the facilities may sometimes be used for weaponization. Mr. President, my people stayed steadfast and resolved in defense of our homeland against these blatant acts of aggression, and the aggressors had to cease their criminal attacks following the heroic resistance of our strong armed forces. We will definitely continue to defend with all force against any future aggressions. But this is not over. As long as the Israeli regime's lawless behavior is supported and justified by its backers and apologists, it is a shame that the international community has been unable to do anything meaningful to end the genocide of Palestinians for the past 2 years and stop Israel from occupying Arab lands in its vicinity.